Hey guys, so chapter 141, I really don't think that the chapter of this title, it really does it justice given the circumstances. I think given the circumstances, what this chapter should have been is from Mashima gives his readers blue balls, the chapter. That is literally what this chapter is, because as everyone knows, the manga is going on break for 2 weeks because of Golden Week, and after having read this chapter, man, it's one of those things where Mashima must have decided I'm going to give my readers the most painful case of blue ball hype, because the way this chapter ends is the most perfect setup to a fight between Shiki and Shura. It's two individuals both taught Satan gravity by the same person, but then ended up with vastly different values from each other based on their on pretty much how they were raised. They are literally ideological opposites of each other, and just that fact alone makes the potential of this fight so good, because this is actually the first real test for Shiki to experience what it's like to go up against like the darkness of Satan gravity, or specifically like someone like Shura with this power, because ever since we were introduced to him, it's been more or less built. It's more or less been built up that Shura is someone who has willingly controlled the darkness of Satan gravity, in contrast to someone like Ziggy, who was basically consumed by it. And if Shiki can't resolve himself in order to fight Shura, then he won't be able to save Ziggy, or pretty much save all of machine kind. But honestly, like, putting all that aside though, I also just love the dynamics of this fight already, and how for a good majority of the chapter, Shura is just like playing with Shiki. Shura during this chapter, he is literally just kind of trolling him at every turn. It's actually kind of hilarious, but also kind of scary, especially with how the last page very much had the indication that Shura is about to go all out, and that we haven't even scratched the surface of just what kind of power he has. And really, the most terrifying thing right now is speculating exactly what Shiki and Shura are capable of without restraint. Because, as Hermit pointed out in this chapter, the calculations on Shura and Shiki's power levels or whatever are kind of off the charts, and that in itself proves the whole training with Zenith just pretty much paid off a little too well, and definitely making something within Shiki more, which to me more than likely is Shiki's overdrive. I think that's a big takeaway from Hermit's like power analysis, is that it's to tell us that pretty much Shiki has fully awakened his overdrive. Now it's just a matter of when he's going to use it, already like from Shura has proven that he is in fact already, even without using any kind of overdrive ability or anything, he's already a very capable fighter. So what is it that is going to push Shiki in to the point of eventually tapping into that power again? And also, on a quick note, can we just talk about Shiki's development as a leader in this chapter? Because yeah, even though he did like step up and fight Shura like he usually does with the antagonists of the series, as the fact that he asked the others to simply trust in him before going to fight Shura shows that to some degree that Shiki is aware that the only way to truly stop like someone like Shura is to fight him head on. Like pretty much Shura is basically someone who pretty much will not stop unless it's a face to face fight. Like Shura is basically on a whole power trip right now, and the only way to stop him is to face him head on, and from there just pretty much hope for the best. Now, the other thing about this fight for me right now is that I'm almost kind of believing that that this is kind of a fight that is almost going to get interrupted by Ziggy in some way. I don't know for sure that's going to be the case, but like I said, this fight is an important step in order for Shiki to probably prepare himself in order to fight Ziggy. But at the same time, I also get this weird feeling that this fight in itself could potentially be interrupted by pretty much the arrival of Ziggy and the Dark Stars. Like I think that's gonna it's all gonna implode into a battle of of Shura of Shura Ziggy and of Shura and Ziggy like pretty much facing on like Shura and Shiki facing Ziggy and then the four star shines like pretty much facing the pretty much four dark stars. That's kind of like this whole setup in itself already kind of screams like that Ziggy's gonna interrupt the battle at some point. But whether he does or not, I don't know. But I'm getting that feeling. Um, with that said, the few moments of the fight we get between Shiki and Shura really give us a disturbing look into Prince Letter's into the letter's mind and is just overall psychosis, because this chapter really kind of like, even though nothing was necessarily said about this or anything, this whole purge of wiping out robots, it's not just a power trip to Shura, or it doesn't even come from like hatred of robots or anything. Like, to Shura, he genuinely believes it is his duty as ruler of the Nero Empire in order to wipe out all machines. Because to him, he's he's just doing like in a very twisted way. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure things like being consumed by power, being obsessed with being the strongest, all that stuff, it still plays a part. But I think at the end of the day, it all comes back down to the idea that, well, pretty much because he's lived a lavish life, because he's lived as the heir to pretty much the throne of the Nero Empire. I think he genuinely does believe he's protecting the entire cosmic world. There is the obvious abuse of power for sure, and you can tell that Shura is enjoying the chaos of everything. But this chapter really kind of shows that Shura looked at Ziggy's. It's almost as if Shura looked at Ziggy's turn to evil and came to the very basic conclusion that if Ziggy can do it, then all of robot kind is capable of it. And he isn't necessarily wrong. We have seen this play out many times before throughout the series, and the current events obviously are pushing towards that happening as well. But through Shura's viewpoint, it isn't there isn't any time in order to consider the options or what are the ideas of what can possibly be done. To him, there's only one absolute solution. So combining that with these twisted views he has of class and power and the whole idea that only he and the Nero Empire are capable of doing it, he basically and he sees himself and the Nero Empire as the only true force capable of squashing this threat, because he's the only one with the ideology, the status, and the status of being a royal, and the power capable of even doing so. Everyone else is just powerless, even if they have an ether gear, because they pretty much don't have they aren't tasked with the duty of that comes with being royalty. Whereas Shiki, he was basically raised raised in the outskirts of pretty much of planet Granbull, a backwater. He is basically a commoner, and to him, just on that fact alone, like Shura sees Shiki as basically incapable of being able to stop what's to come, and to stop Ziggy and to stop what's to come. And but at the same time, well, pretty much because he was raised among robots and people he saw as his friends, Shiki's ideology is that he believes he can stop Ziggy, and that peace truly can exist between human and machine, even if it isn't, even if as of right now things are looking so dire that machines will turn against humanity. He still believes that. whereas Shura believes destruction is the only path forward for machines. Um, and again, I hate to point fingers in this direction because I'm sure he is benevolent. He has proven himself. He doesn't intentionally have any real like true true like he isn't truly like evil or anything. But Nero, a lot of this can be blamed on Nero. Nero just failed to raise Shura correctly as his father. If he had just put the damn dice down, not left everything up to fate, and actually made his own decisions, then I don't know if it necessarily would have changed everything about Shura, but there was at that point there would have at least been a chance that things wouldn't have gotten this bad, and Shura's ideology might not have become so twisted. Like at the end of the day, like for Shura's whole ideology about class power, all that, it comes from not being reined in properly, I think. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Annual Crunchyroll, and be sure to hit the bell in order to get notifications. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.